So, today we're talking about Tasmania, but not just as an island on a map. No, we're going to look at it as this incredible living laboratory for human history. It's a place where 40,000 years of sustainable living crashed headfirst into 200 years of industrial control, and the result? Some of the most shocking contradictions you can possibly imagine.
Right, so to really get your head around Tasmania, you have to hold two completely opposite ideas in your mind at the exact same time. It's a real puzzle. Let's start with the island as it is today.
So, where does a quote like that come from? Well, that's from a professional gambler and art collector named David Walsh, and he's talking about his own creation, Mona, the Museum of Old and New Art. And this place, it didn't just boost tourism, it fundamentally rewired the island's entire identity, flipping it from this quiet, forgotten place into a global center for edgy contemporary culture.
But here's the thing. This modern, progressive image, art festivals, cultural confidence, it's all built on a foundation of some truly shocking extremes. The island's past and its present are so different, it's almost impossible to believe they're part of the same story.
I mean, how is it even possible that one island can be a world leader in renewable energy, running on a 100% green grid, yet just a generation ago, it had the single harshest penalty for gay sex in the entire Western world? To solve that puzzle, we've got to rewind, like way back.
For almost as long as modern humans have been around, Tasmania was home to a society that existed in a near-perfect balance with its environment.
40,000 years. For that long, the Palawa people thrived here. Then, about 12,000 years ago, the sea levels rose and they were cut off from the mainland. And just like that, they became the most isolated human population in all of history, developing this culture of incredible resilience and deep, deep ecological knowledge.
And this comparison really forces you to ask, what does wealth even mean? Anthropologists figure the Palawa worked roughly 20 hours a week to get everything they needed, food, shelter, you name it. That left them with about 50 hours for leisure, art, storytelling, family. Now think about our modern 40-plus hour work week, plus commutes and everything else. You really have to wonder, who actually mastered the art of living?
And they achieved this not by just sitting back, but through really sophisticated land management, passed down through generations. They knew the seasons, the animals, the plants. They used fire to shape the landscape, encouraging new growth. It was a 40,000-year-old system of living with nature, not just in it. A system that was about to be completely shattered.
So the British arrive, and that 40,000-year story of continuity, it gets systematically dismantled in less than a single human lifetime.
What's so staggering about this timeline is just how fast it all happened. From the first settlement in 1803 to the closure of the Waibelena internment camp in 1847, a society that had thrived for millennia was reduced from thousands of people to just 47 survivors. All in just 44 years. Let that sink in.
And look, this colonial brutality wasn't just directed at the Palawa. At places like the Cascades Female Factory, a prison for convict women, the conditions were so horrific that the infant mortality rate was over 26%. I mean, think about that. More than 1 in 4 babies born there simply did not survive.
And this impulse for harsh social control, it didn't just fade away. As recently as the early 1990s, Tasmania had the most severe penalty for homosexual acts in the Western world, 21 years in prison. And this wasn't some colonial-era relic. We're talking about the law just over 30 years ago.
The destruction was also ecological, on a massive scale. In just 40 years, European sealers slaughtered at least 2 million seals in the Bass Strait. They drove 3 entire species to extinction and completely wiped out a primary food source that the Palawa had been sustainably harvesting for 1,600 generations. And if you think those are just abstract numbers, listen to this. It's a direct quote from a newspaper report back in 1829 describing the horror inside that female factory. It's just a stark reminder that these weren't just statistics. These were real people, real lives.
But, and this is the truly wild part of the story, out of this profound, unbelievable trauma, modern Tasmania began this radical, almost unbelievable transformation.
And this is where you get that insane, whiplash-inducing change. The state went from having the death penalty for sodomy in 1867 and 21-year prison sentences as recently as the 1990s to becoming the very first Australian parliament to pass a same-sex marriage bill. So what happened? Was it a conscious reaction to its own brutal past? A form of cultural atonement? The reasons are complex, but that reversal, in a single generation, is just undeniable.
You see that same pattern of transformation with the environment too. The very same hydroelectric dams that sparked so much protest, they actually created the world's first green political party. Well, now they power a 100% renewable energy grid. The island's goal is to become the battery of the nation, exporting clean energy back to the mainland.
So this entire history, the isolation, the trauma, the radical change, has left Tasmania as this unique, living experiment with a population that's really unlike anywhere else on Earth.
Okay, so for over a century, very few new people emigrated to the island. And what that did was create this remarkably homogeneous population. Get this, a staggering 65% of Tasmanians today are descendants of the original 10,000 founding families, a mix of convicts, guards, and free settlers from way back.
And the implication of this is it's mind-boggling. After generations of intermarriage, if you pick any two random people in Tasmania, there's up to a 53% chance that they're distantly related. This creates this incredibly dense social web where the past is never really that far away. That old saying, everyone knows everyone, it's not just a small-town cliché there, it's practically a mathematical certainty.
Ultimately, the island really stands as a question for all of us. I mean, modern Tasmania has achieved incredible technological sustainability with its renewable grid. That's amazing. But it's lost that work-life balance, that deep connection to nature to Palawa perfected over 1,600 generations. And that leaves us with a final thought. In our race to control the world, what have we gained and what have we lost?